the situation with the Browns and Jacksonville with that trade.
Yeah.
Okay. We can take out the talent. We'll start with that and just say, it felt by a lot of indicators that Jacksonville did an incredible job.
I agree.
But Cleveland did an even better job of fleecing Jacksonville.
I agree.
So you think Jacksonville, they both won it?
They both won. Because the Browns are looking at this and saying, Deshaun Watson set us back probably more than the 4 years on the contract. Okay, that's important. They're not trying to win now. If they were trying to win now, they would have drafted Travis Hunter and gone from there. They wouldn't have drafted Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round. They wouldn't have drafted Shadour Sanders in the 5th round. They understand where they are. The Jaguars, again, you talk about a franchise that needs some juice, needs a little, in-market kick in the butt. You got to start there. What's going on in Jacksonville? They have a new coach. They have a new GM. For me, when you have a special talent, the first press conference I was ever at as an NFL journalist was Mike Shanahan right after the RG3 trade. And he asked a rhetorical question. He said, what did the Broncos give up for John Elway? Nobody knew. You know why? Because nobody cared. Nobody was saying, they added, I can't believe they added another 2nd-round pick. No, they got a franchise cornerstone. And so with Travis Hunter, if he's the guy you think he is, there's no overpay for that.
But why didn't Cleveland look at the Ohtani of the NFL and knowing that they needed to take away from this Deshaun Watson situation, and you get a makeover right away?
I agree in theory, but I think they're looking at this roster. It's an aging roster that was built around the Deshaun Watson thing working, okay? And I think they have some self-awareness that that's not going to be the case anymore. That the aging roster, some of their guys, it's not ready to win now. So take the Jaguars pick, which is probably going to be a pretty good pick next year, and start building in a different way.
But why not trade Myles Garrett, or why extend Myles Garrett?
I probably would have. I probably would have. I mean, I listen. You're putting yourself. You're doing something very dangerous, Dan, which is putting yourself in the head of the Cleveland Browns and saying, "Let's make some good decisions." They haven't done that for 30 years. Okay, so it's really hard. Like the Dylan Gabriel pick to me was one of the dumbest of the entire draft. What are you doing at that point? And why? We can get into this thing, but why you would take Gabriel, who would have dropped a handful more rounds? He's a career backup when you're looking for a starter. Are you now going to trade for Kirk Cousins? You have Joe Flacco in the room. None of this really makes any sense. It's like, and maybe this is just the product of ownership, Dan, it's like there's 5 different decision makers in Cleveland, and they all get to make alternating decisions. And it's like they've never met before.
Well, you can tell if I look at body language of coach and GM when they made the pick with Shadour, that came from up above.
Yeah,
because it almost felt like, oh my gosh, let's draft him, and then let's trade up to draft him when you could have had him. It was Brownsian. It was Brownsian. It was truly Brownsian there. But I do think it's a great place for Shadour to go to.
I agree.
Because I think he'll play. I think he'll start a game this year.
He's going to be instantly better than Dylan Gabriel. So that's the first hurdle to clear. Dylan Gabriel's not very good. Kevin Stefanski can tell him where to go with the ball. We know that Shadour can be accurate. We know he can. I mean, my thing about Shadour, I didn't think he was top 5 level. But what I did think was if you put a lot of those prospects behind the Colorado offensive line last year, they wouldn't have looked as good as Shadour.
But if I give them the receivers that Colorado had, you're going to look pretty good.
At least one. Yes, I agree with that. When I look at the Shadour situation, I was texting people in the league in the 4th round and in the 5th round. And I was saying, why don't you guys just take Shadour? I'm talking about teams with good quarterbacks where it's not going to be a drama. Like, hey, this first-round talent is dropping. This seems like value. And they said there were 2 problems. Number one, they didn't do any work on the guy because they didn't think this was going to happen, right? So, like, if you're a team with a franchise starter already, you didn't even meet Shadour Sanders. You don't even have his phone number. I mean, apparently everybody has his phone number because of Jax Ulbrich. But you just get into a situation where they'd be flying blind. So that was part of the problem. But then the other problem is they just didn't want to disrupt their quarterback room. They don't know. I mean, there's a lot of ways to get Shadour level production, especially in the 5th round or in the mid rounds, without SportsCenter coming to your camp on day one.
Was this collusion?
I don't think it was. Okay. I think it starts with the most basic, obvious thing, which is there were only a handful of quarterback needy teams, and they didn't think Shadour was that good. I think it starts there, and then it was a cascading series of effects. I do think that there's a lot of cowardice in the NFL where they just don't want distractions, And I think that is more powerful than any sort of whatever. I don't think there was exact collusion where they were staying away from him.